Good morning and welcome to Body and Soul. We're back again and this is season 2. This time with body and soul and everything that's going on in the workplace. So we're going to be concentrating for the next 13 weeks on all your issues to do with your body and your soul in the workplace. Starting today with stress management, we'll be dealing with occupational therapy, time management, all your issues to do with the workplace. We'll be investigating them and coming up with some solutions for you. So today we have our guest. We're doing with stress. We've got Penny Prempre, a yoga instructor from the UK, and it's a kinetic yoga. So we're going to find out how that's going to help us with our stress. And then later we're going to deal with the science of stress. Okay? So let me get started straight away with our motivation message. Now, today the topic is our biggest regrets. And what we have is that the research has shown that on people's deathbed, they have 3 serious regrets that they always come up with. These are always repeated. The first one is expectation. That people that live, when they express their regret, what they say is that people have expected so much from them and they've lived to other people's expectations and not to their own. And how many of us do that? It could be our parents, it could be a preacher, it could be a teacher, society, friends, your husband or your wife, whatever. Sometimes when we're living to other people's expectations, their expectations is our what? Our limitations. So we can't afford to let anybody limit us and categorize us to how they feel we should be. Our expectations, don't let them drag the rug from under your feet when you've decided that you want to go somewhere in life. You go for what it is that you want, but try and know yourself. Okay, and then the second issue that people have, second big regret that people have is working too hard. We're dealing with stress today, and this is a major complaint, especially in this country. I've noticed people work for ridiculous hours and for ridiculous lengths of time. Now, when we're working too hard, basically, let me give you an example with Oprah. Oprah Winfrey stated that she did not want to have a family. She didn't want to have children and work because she just felt that she wouldn't be able to dedicate her time fully to her children. And that, to me, Oprah made the right decision, because look how many children she can now take care of by making the decision to dedicate herself to one thing and not split herself to too many things. And now the same, Wendy Williams, on the other hand, was critical of Oprah for saying that she was happy to just have a job and not have no children. Wendy Williams, on the other hand, felt that she wanted it all. She wanted the job, she wanted the children, she wanted a big career. Just about 2 weeks ago, Wendy was crying that her own son doesn't like her. So again, what we're seeing is that sometimes when we try to be too many things to too many people, somebody suffers. And my friends, especially the men, I think, in this country, who are working too hard, we're not spending the time with your family. You're not getting to grow and enjoy your children, enjoy your wife. And when we think about it, I don't want to talk too much about death, but on your gravestone, it doesn't say, there goes a great worker. They will say, there goes a great husband or a great father. So let's focus on those things and allow time for our children and our family, and work within moderation. Because all the work that many of us are doing, we never get to enjoy the rewards of them. We don't get to see the rewards of our work. And then the final thing, or we don't get to enjoy the benefits of our work. And then the final thing is that when we're penting up our feelings, we're not expressing what it is that we're feeling to people. And this, again, is very common in this country. And it comes under the banner of politeness. But sometimes we have to tell people exactly what it is that we're feeling. If you're angry, sometimes you have to let out that anger. But what I would suggest is, if it's your boss, if it's your colleague, if it's a competitor that is making you feel stressed and pent up, then what I would suggest is that you first check if you're wrong. First check if you're wrong on what you might be doing wrong. And then the next thing what you would need to do is pull them aside and talk to them politely and humbly. But don't stew and let it boil up inside of you. Okay? So now I hope that message again was useful to you, especially if you're in the workplace and you're going to be facing stress. Let's not have these regrets later on in life. So now we're going to move over and bringing our guests. Now Penny is a kinetic yoga instructor from the UK. We're going to take a little break before Penny comes on, but she's dealing with Kemetic yoga, which is specifically an African-style yoga. So I really want you to tune in and pay attention and learn what African yoga can do to help to de-stress you, okay? We'll take a little break and we'll be back in a moment. Hi and welcome back. So now we've got Penny joining me, a beautiful young lady from the UK, and we're going to be discussing stress a little, and then later she's going to actually take you through the exercises to do it. So good morning, Penny. Lovely to have you on board.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, you look lovely and beautiful as ever, very calm.
Thank you.
That's what I noticed with you, that I think your stress exercise is working. So let's get to the point, Penny.
Right.
What exactly is stress? From your yoga instructor, stress is a big deal. I'm sure many people come to you to de-stress. What is stress, in your opinion?
Stress, in essence, is when a person feels overwhelmed by any issue that's going on in their life. It could be to do with children, finances, working too hard, as you mentioned earlier, stresses of other relationships that they're having in their lives that are not going the way that they would like them to go.
Even though you're an instructor yourself, I'm sure you experience stress sometimes. How would you identify it for yourself?
Personally, on a personal level, stress for me would probably be related to children. You know, wanting the best for them, trying to organise my time to make sure that I can spend quality time with them.
Yeah.
You know, you want them to be safe. You want to make sure that, you know, life is going well for them. They're not experiencing things that are too traumatic and all of those different things.
So luckily for you, it's not in the workplace. In the workplace, you de-stress. It's the opposite way around.
Yeah.
It's when
I'm
you
making my
face the family. Amen. Okay, so in Ghana, you know, when I mention stress to Ghanaians, the first thing is that, oh no, you know, they find that they have an issue with it.
Right.
What is the problem with yoga?
I think yoga, there's a preconception that yoga is very much a spiritual religion type of exercise, and so I think that the misconceptions, people not understanding what yoga is in essence, which is actually a self-development tool, it puts people off. It makes people shy away from really getting into it.
Because it's in like Hindu or Buddhism.
Exactly, they're related to specific religions, and actually, you know, the essence of yoga, as I said earlier, is about self-development. It's about having tools in place on a physical level and mental tools that help you to be in alignment with yourself.
And the yoga that you teach, as I understand, is African. It's from our culture anyway.
That's right.
So how is it different to Asian?
Okay, so with yoga, over time what's happened, the different cultures have basically made variations to suit their body types. African yoga stems from the beginning, as you know. We're the first people on the planet. And so the difference with the African yoga is we keep it in context of the origin. So it's very rhythmic and fluid.
Wow.
We don't go into a lot of meditative postures. A lot of what we do is very fluid and very rhythmic. And, you know, in our day-to-day lives as African people, as we all know, that's what we like to do. We like to sing, we like to dance, and it helps us in our day-to-day lives in keeping calm, in being relaxed, releasing tension, all of those different things.
Wonderful. I know rhythm is important to African people. When we were growing up in Jamaica, we were taught maths with rhythm, ABC, and everything was sung. And it's still with me now. But whatever I learned in UK, I can't remember half of it. It's not true. It's not true. Okay. So we say that yoga is good for stress. Mind, body, and soul. How does it affect those specific aspects of our being?
Okay, so fundamentally, yoga is all about the breath. That's the place that we start with, focusing on proper breathing. And when I say proper breathing, I'm talking about utilising a full breath. For many of us, because the human body is so awesome, we very quickly from a young age get into the point where we start breathing very shallow, just utilising half the diaphragm. And a full breath, you're literally using your whole diaphragm, and it sends the energy, the blood and the air you're taking into all the different parts of the body. So you're not working on your reserves on a day-to-day basis. Okay. Most people, when they're breathing, they're very tense. The breathing's very shallow. It's very much up here and congested.
Especially somebody who's stressed.
Yes, that's what happens. Very short breaths, and a lot of people complain about about having a tight chest, backaches, because what's happening is the body is starting to block. The energy is not flowing, and those are the things that are affecting the body. So with the practice of yoga, you learn to breathe properly. You're also doing movements that open up the body so the energy is flowing nice and freely, okay? And when you're doing that and the body feels open and energy is flowing, obviously the mind is going to start to be more free, because now you're not going to be focusing on the ailments of the blockages that are going through the body. You're able now to be a bit more clear and focused, okay? So a lot of people that are stressed also have things like headaches, migraines, those kind of things.
That's
you know?
Perfectly true. I love the role. Continue. You're the other role, and you're right.
So when you're moving, so when you have a practice like yoga and you're, you know, using these tools, so you've got the whole thing of you're breathing properly, you're utilizing the exercises to keep the mind open and free. What happens is you have more clarity. When you have more clarity, you have more focus. When you have more focus, your day-to-day life is going to be easier, because everything that you're doing, you're able to concentrate on the task at hand, as opposed to what most of us do, is they do this thing of, you know, you're thinking about the money that you have to pay to somebody, you're thinking about what time you might have to pick up the children from school, you know, you might be thinking that your boss has asked you to do something, but you're still doing the work that, you know, has been waiting from the morning before. Whatever it is, many things at one time, which causes confusion. Again, that can also be overwhelming and lead to stress. So when you have this clear mind and you're able to focus, you get into a pattern of focusing on the task at hand, being in the present moment, and that's very much what the practice of yoga gives to the individual.
Wonderful, Penny. So, sweetheart, what is your message to the people? We're talking about stress this morning. We've got a lot of people out there who are, they're stressed and they know they are, but they just don't know how important it is and to get rid of it. What would you say to that person who's sitting at home and thinking, yeah, I know I'm stressed, but what the hell can I do about it?
I think the main thing is to take time for self. It's very, very important, even if it's just a few minutes at the beginning of your day, and do something physical, something that helps the body to open up, even if it's literally just stretching, taking time to breathe properly, clear the body, and get that clarity, and it will set you up for the rest of your day. You know, once you have that clear mind, as I said, things become easier. Your thought process will even be better, and it's also long.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Penny is going to be, we're going to take a little break. Penny is going to bring us through some yoga exercises. So I won't be doing it with you today. Make sure you clear your mat, have your space on the floor. If you're disabled or stuck in a chair for any reason, some of the exercises you will be able to follow along with. So we'll see you in a moment, okay? Okay, so we're back with the science, and this for me is always interesting, because the science it gives you a hard, you know, research is behind it, so it gives us something a little bit evidential based on what we're talking about. So let's see what we've got on the screen today. We're talking about stress. So the first question is really, at this level of science, what is stress? And what the industry is saying is that stress is a natural thing. It's a natural thing based on fear. But this stress is really meant for survival. So when we get stressed, we go into a state of flight or fight. You either want to fight your way out of a situation, or in this situation where I think it's a hippopotamus, I'm not very good with animals, but when the hippo is chasing this guy, then he's running like crazy. So what happens naturally to your body, physiologically now, is that all your blood, instead of running to your digestive system, instead of running to your brain, instead of running to your other organs, it runs to the essential organ to carry out the activity which you want to carry out, which is to flee. So all his blood is going to be rushing to his lower body to give him the power to get away. And it's the same if he had to fight his way out of a situation. It would go to his arms and his upper body to be able to fight. Now, when stress, let's go to the next screen. When this stress, natural, healthy stress, becomes a problem, is when we make it last all day. You know, usually that situation of flight or flight will last for a few minutes for you to get out of a situation, and then you can return to your natural equilibrium. But when you're in this state all day, you notice the gentleman is touching his head. This is an office work stress. This is work-based stress. And all that's going on here now is that he's still in a mode of fight or flight. So now the blood is still rushing to the parts of his body to let him escape from this situation. But his head, so the blood is not rushing to his head, but it's his head that he's using, it's his brains that he's using, isn't it? So what you find is that the tension is all building up there, because stress is fundamentally, if you're not in a situation of fright or fear, it's fundamentally a mind thing. And so that's why we need to learn how to control our mind. I mean, this is very typical, isn't it? You're in the office, you're getting urgent memos, the phone is ringing, your boss wants this. There's just too much demands on you, and then you're not working. You're not working a normal day-to-day shift. You are working right through the day. Some people are leaving out 6 in the morning from their home and coming back a ridiculous time of night. So you can imagine physically what is happening to the body during this period of time. The body is suffering because the blood now is not rushing to your digestive system. So when you're stressed, your food can't digest. Hence, diet problems, weight problems start to set in. Your metabolism slows down a lot when you're under stress. Same with your heart. Remember, because you go into that state where the blood rushes to your body, that means anybody who has blood pressure or symptoms of blood pressure is going to be in grave danger if they live a stressful life. And then the next thing as well is also that the stress will surround the whole, if you have it for the whole of your day, every cell in your body, let's go to the next screen, good. Every cell in your body started to deteriorate. So what, not just, I'm showing you here Obama, this is 8 years in administration, less than 8 years, because he hasn't finished yet. And look how vibrant and youthful he looked there at the start of his administration. I mean, these guys can always afford Botox and everything anyway. But look at the state of Obama in recent photographs. Just the life of a stress has deteriorated all of his cells in his body. Now, on the outside, you can see it clearly what is taking place. But imagining what's happening to his organs on the inside. Just the same as when you're aging. So all the arthritis, the heart conditions, the nerve condition, the Alzheimer's, whatever it is, start to set it in. Same again. Look at Bill Clinton. 8 years within administration, he started to look like his own father. Stress is a massive killer, and it is something that we need to get away from and stay away from as much as possible. And have we got anything up on the screen? It will take you through the day. You've got to learn throughout the day to plan your time. So let's look at some of the solutions. Let's look at some of the solutions of stress. And don't you feel better straight away? I mean, the moment we look at this picture, it's like, and the de-stress level starts to come down. Our organs start to function. Our blood flows in a natural way again. So it's so important to find time to relax. Now, this is, obviously, you can't do this all day in the office. So learning breathing. Yes, this is the last slide. Learning to breathe again in the office, learning to relax, take a little bit of time, get some water which will give you oxygen and help with your breathing. We will, all of these things will slowly help to de-stress you. We're going to take a little break before we go to the exercise, but the final point with stress is that manage your time. Most of us are getting highly stressed because we're within an 8-hour day, working day, you can only achieve so much. And many of us are trying to pack a 24-hour working day into an 8-hour day. It doesn't work, and it's not working out for us, and it's actually killing many of us. Okay, so we're going to take a break now, and then we're going to come back, get your gear on, because we're going to be doing yoga, and we're going to be working out, okay? I'll see you there. Is she getting music? Okay, thank you. We'll appreciate that music. That's great. Okay, so now Penny is going to give you a little idea of what kinetic yoga is like. So I'm going to let you get on with it, Penny. Take the floor. I'll have a little chat while you're going along as well.
Okay, so we're going to start by just warming up the body. We're going to start from the head and work our way down. I'm going to ask you to bring your chin to the center of your chest. And you're just going to go from side to side, aiming to bring the chin over the shoulders, just starting to unwind the neck where we hold a lot of tension. And then we're going to take the head all the way round. Again, just starting to take out the tension. Opposite direction, just to really unwind. And you're also starting to stretch the vertebrae in the back. As your head comes back to center, shoulders are coming up. You're inhaling and exhaling down. So you're breathing in and breathing out. And try and take that breath nice and deep, okay? From the stomach, full breath, so you expand the stomach. As you breathe out, pull the stomach back so all the air comes out. Nice deep inhale and exhales, up and down. Really starting to unwind and open up the shoulders, stretching the vertebrae in the back, loosening up the arms. I'm just going to reverse that, so we're coming up the back and bringing the shoulders forward. Nice deep breaths. And you'll feel your body starting to loosen up. Okay, we're going to bring the arms up. Okay, and we're just going to go from side to side. As you breathe in and out. And what we're doing here is starting to open up the arms. So any blockages, just allowing the arms to open up. So we're just flowing, okay? From side to side. We're going to deepen the stretch slightly. So you're taking it from side to side now. And remember, you're breathing in and out. That's it. And as you start to deepen your stretch, you'll find the lower back starting to open up. We're going to take it down. So you're going to bend from your waist and drop the hands across the knees. And what we're doing is starting to pull the vertebrae down, okay? So your spine is starting to stretch, allowing the energy to flow. I'm looking up. But I'm going to ask that you keep your head down for a moment, so you're allowing the blood to flow to the top of the head. Helps with clarity as well. You also start to get that rush of blood. Nice deep breaths. We're going to drop all the way down now and sweep the ground. And again, you're bending from your waist. Okay? Okay. Nice deep breaths. And we're going to take it up. Okay. And now bend the knees as you go from side to side. Bringing it up to the starting point. And we're going to flow nice and quick now as the body opens up. Okay. Bring the hands to the center. And we're going to stretch up. And nice deep breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale. You're going to exhale down. You're bringing the hands down in between the feet. Dropping the head, allowing the blood to rush to the top of the head. Breathe in and out. Nice strong breath. You're coming up. Stretch the hands forward. You open up the arms as if you're holding the sun and leaning back, opening the chest and also allowing the flow of blood to go right to the heart center and come down. Center of the legs again, this time slightly further back if you're able to. Nice and comfortable. Don't overexert yourself. Breathe nice and deep. You're coming forward again. All the way back, slightly deeper this time. Holding the sun and release. We're going to flow into water now. So now you're flexing the body, okay? You're flexing the body. We want the spine to really unravel, okay? So remember what I said earlier about all this tension we hold up in our heads? The body is 70 to 80% water, depending on what you refer to, but thereabouts. And as we flow like so, just helps us to relax and unwind, okay? You bring it forward. You're doing wonders for your core. Opposite direction. For those of you who are trying to get those flat tummies, this will also help you. And just flow to the side. Forwards. And to the side.
Wonderful. I like all that flowing and stuff. Stu, I didn't know you could flow like that. That's amazing. Okay, well, I hope you've been able to de-stress a little bit. Thank you so much, Penny. You know, I'm sure they've learned something. Can anybody want to do some African yoga with Penny? Come along to our centre at Osu, the ISIS Centre, and she'll work you out there in a gentle, rhythmic way. So, body and soul, look after the stress, manage your stress, take stress seriously. Any symptoms of stress that you see, go to your doctor, check that there's nothing more serious going on. Okay, next week we'll be coming back with occupational health, some of the problems that you have during the workplace. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed today. I've certainly enjoyed being with you. Thank you for letting all of us into your home, and we'll see you again next week. Okay, bye-bye.